Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Eel Podcast. We, for once, don't have a jam-packed episode, which has been beautiful. So, what in this episode is going to contain is we're going to talk a little bit about some news on potential rumors that have been spread about a particular show, which we'll get in first. But before going into that, we'll talk about everything else that's happening in this episode. We're going to be talking about the latest episode of Kite-Man, and we're going to be talking about season 1 of Hit Monkey. And then we'll obviously be ending with a character spotlight from Scott. And let's get right into it. So, Mike informed me that there's a very strong possibility that this rumor is true that the Acolyte is going to be canceled and erased from existence? Question mark.
Yeah, so people are saying that from sources close to Disney, and not from official. It hasn't been from Disney officially, as far as I can tell yet. But
Okay.
Acolyte has been canceled after one season, and there are reports that anything Acolyte related is being removed. So, like, if you go into the Disney store, I haven't done it yet, but if you go into the Disney store and you search anything Acolyte related, it can no longer be found. And then if you rumors are that they're going to be following in the footsteps of the show or movie. I don't know.
It was a sh-
Willow.
so it was originally a movie, and then the new one that came out was the series.
It was a series. All right. Well, anything is similar to what happened to that. It got such a poor reception that because it was performed so badly, they just removed it from Disney Plus.
I just don't understand the thought of removing it. I think that's what confuses me because you can still make money off of it because it can become a cult classic later.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, that's
look at
that's
the
just
prequels.
well. Not only that, look at
Anything.
Hocus
Uh,
Pocus. Hocus
Hocus
Pocus
Pocus
was
wasn't.
horrible. Hocus Pocus, great. It wasn't a show, but bear with me.
Yeah,
But
same thing.
it was hated when it first came out, and it took 10 years before people actually liked it, and now it's one of their best Halloween films.
Yeah, wasn't Beetlejuice poorly received when it first came out as well, and then now it's getting a sequel after how
Well,
many years?
so I'll say this, yes, but it also built up a lot of credibility in the 90s. No,
I mean,
early 2000s. I
early to
forget.
that.
Yeah, but so like
Either way,
yes,
like down the road, it got more popular, is what I meant.
yes. Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and
but
that's been a lot of things too, like um I'm trying to think there was a few others too, but like those were like the ones that come to my mind immediately.
I mean,
Um
just relating to Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars the prequels were so poorly received when they first released, and now everyone, now that years down the road, now that the audience that grew up with them is older, now they're praising them.
well, the
Uh,
other difference too I'll have to say is, and this is just my thought on that, was I'm not going to say that's too much similar. The reason why I'm saying that is because they added a show in between to make it
I mean,
better.
that helped with the older audience that was already that
Okay,
already didn't
yeah.
like it.
But you
So
know what
like
but you understand what I'm saying. Like
yes, I do.
I'm not trying to say you're wrong. It's got the similar vibe to it. However, they added to it, so
Yeah,
they then made it better. And we
this
can all
is
agree to
it's
that.
it's the similar concept. It's just
Yes,
different in how it went about it.
agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
but yeah, so I mean,
But
that's the rumor with Acolyte. It's caused a whole lot of controversy. I mean, I'm personally in a ton of Twitter fights because people are terrible, and it's like it's not even like I've said 100 times. It's fine if you don't like something, but to root for something to fail and then just to be toxic over it,
before it's come out,
yeah,
because that's the key piece. Because you can hate something after it comes out, and I'm actually okay with it. I know that sounds weird to say, but
no,
like I
it's
actually am.
fair. That's your
But like, because
opinion.
you gave it a chance. You
Yeah,
can't say something's going to be so horrible without even seeing it first.
I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but I was in a like I said I was in a Twitter fight yesterday, and the person was saying like, "Oh, the Rotten Tomato reviews are so bad." I'm like, "Well, that's because the audience score was review bombed before it even released." And he's like, "Well, that's the point of reviews, is just so that way it deters people if they're not interested if the show is bad." I'm like, "That's
Wait,
one thing if the show had come out and it got poor reviews. The show hadn't even come out and it got the poor reviews. That doesn't work."
yeah, it was.
And it even got to the point that it was like I've said 100 times as well. People were so mad at it before it aired that they were review bombing anything with Acolyte related. So like a movie
Right.
that came out in the 70s that was called Acolyte was getting review bombed. That makes no sense. And I get frustrated talking about it because it's like it's one thing. Like I've seen people say, I just wasn't interested in the show, so I stopped
That's
watching
fine.
it. That's fair, but
To
they
me,
didn't turn around and say, "Oh, the lead actress because she's black, it's a terrible show."
well,
Like, come
to be
on.
fair, they're not saying it that way. They're saying that they have horrible leads and everything else. They phrase it
Yeah.
in a way to hide their sexism and racism. But
Yes.
the other thing too that kills me is like I will admit like I think and we talked about this story-wise the main character was not the best. The two
Yeah.
main characters were not the best. However, Anakin wasn't written all that well either. So
No.
it's like, and Anakin is one of the big, you know what I'm saying? Like, granted, he was Darth Vader first, technically, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
everyone loved him because of that. But, like, realistically, like, Anakin was not liked until much later.
Yeah, and even going into a more closer relation, like people talk about it with the Clone Wars, the TV show. When if Clone Wars came out today, it would not make it to where it went to because season 1 was so poorly
Also
received when it
true.
first aired. Season 1 through 3 was terrible.
Uh,
Season 1 and 2. Season 3 it
yes.
started to pick up.
I can't remember, because the thing that kills me is I know you're right. First off, season one for sure. Season two, for some reason, makes me think like it was at the end where it like slowly did something, and then season three is where it actually started to get good.
Yeah, and I mean even season 3 like wasn't great, but it started to
No, no,
build
no,
on.
but it was better than the first two for sure because
Yeah.
it wasn't that like episode battle. You know, like
Yeah.
literally each episode was a battle, and it
Yeah.
was like yeah, but it was boring. Like it was way too much war. It was like we were watching the History Channel for Star Wars. Like that. No, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
like on the
yeah.
Battle of Krakatoa. There they were destroying the enemies. The Jedi were outnumbered 57-1. They were able to remove the error of their ways, and that literally was like the first season for sure. The second season,
Yeah,
I'm hesitant because I feel like they tried better in season two, and it worked a little bit better. And then season three is where it got good, but I could be wrong. It's
yeah.
been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember season one being like, because you were like, "Oh, this is the greatest show ever," and I got to season one, and I'm like, I don't know if I can make it. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I
Oh
forced
yeah.
myself, and I'm glad I did. But I mean, like realistically, like I could have easily stopped. Um,
But I mean, it goes to show, just like with season 1 was so bad, and then it ended with season 7, which got a near perfect score from Rotten Tomatoes and audience score.
yeah.
So I mean, like you have to give the story a chance to build. Again, the characters, like we've said it, the acting wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't terrible. Uh,
Honestly, it was whenever Darth Maul came back.
I'm talking about the Acolyte at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of. I stayed with Clone Wars, but anyway. Um,
But yes, when Darth Maul really first came back, that's when the show really took off because
oh,
it
that's when
started.
it got so much. Like, not that it was. Yeah, it got so much better. And then you had Darth Maul's brother, and it was a whole fun thing. But
Yeah,
anyway,
there was just so much to it, and then obviously it led to Rebels, and it led to
yes,
Bad Batch, which were
yes,
both fantastic, fantastic shows.
yes, yes, and even Bad Batch, the first season was okay.
First season was a lot of filler episodes, which we were just sitting there going like, "This is
It wasn't.
terrible."
I'll say this: like, it was not nearly as bad as the first season of Clone Wars. However, it significantly got better as time went on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Like season 1 to season 2 were just vastly different in quality.
Yes, agreed. But yeah, so that's pretty much the main thing we wanted to talk about for news. So let's get right into the heart. Well, it's not really the heart of this, but let's go to the next segment. We're going to be
Yeah,
talking about the latest episode of Kite Man. So this episode, um,
I was giddy during it. I'll be honest. I thought
all
it
right.
was
So I'll
funny.
say this. So here's my thing. Okay, we didn't like the last episode as much because there was plot for once, right?
Yep,
And
yep. This had plot, but it
but it
was,
didn't. At the same time, it was
yeah.
so weird. Like it was more like the show that I was expecting.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like
Like they
because
they they like built on the last episode, but like went back to what they were good at and making it a joke.
it was so weird to me because it's like Mike's exactly right. Like I'm thinking, okay, this episode's going to be like a big like plot reveal point and everything else, but like we were right about everything, and then they just decided to have fun with it. And honestly made it better. I'm not going to
Yeah.
argue that, but I just was, because of last episode. This is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, no, I'll give it. I completely agree. I was like, I'll be honest. So this episode, I was kind of like not looking forward to watching because
Yes,
I'm like, this is taking the show and it's not going in the right direction. And I was happy that I was wrong.
honestly, I think they must have done it on purpose because it's probably. I think, and I think this does make sense. I think they might have been worried that it was going to be like stagnant a little bit. So what
Yeah,
they did
fair.
was like, okay, let's knock it down, let's confuse people, and then bring it back to what it was, and
Yeah.
they'll like it again. And it's like, to be honest with you, actually worked
Oh
because,
yeah.
or at least it worked on me. So like, honestly, I'll go quickly on the plot of this whole episode because it's really quick to explain. We'll go
Plot.
into heavy details. Well, you know what I mean.
I
Um,
know. I know.
we'll go ahead in heavy detail about certain stuff as we go through. So basically, Golden Glider wants to figure out how to get Beast Mode back to Kite Man. We then have the Sexiest Villain Award that is a three-way contenders between Lex Luthor, Beast Mode, and Bane. We have Malice working with Bane to make him sexy because she can make anybody sexy.
Because he was in contender. He sexiest villain alive because he is the ugliest villain alive.
Yes, which was hilarious to me because it was the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep.
That was the
Yep.
joke. That was the joke. Good
Yep.
being Lex, which is hilarious. The bad being Beast Mode, and then the ugly being Bane. And so Malice is like, "Oh, I love a challenge," and so she takes on the idea of making Bane sexy. Um, Bane gets a makeover, which is really just a suit on top of his already suit, like an
And a
actual.
briefcase.
No, no, no. The briefcase was after because the suit by itself was not enough.
No.
Then
No.
Malice gets told to go grab chicken nuggets because everyone was hungry.
Yeah.
She goes to grab the chicken nuggets, and I'm not gonna lie to you. When she found that, I was dead set. She knew it was the anti-life equation
I thought she did. I thought she did too. And
because
then
it
it's just
glowed.
like,
It glowed,
yeah,
and I was like, okay, she 100% knows what it is. And she's like, it's a briefcase, okay? Who cares what's inside? Like it fits the outfit perfectly. And I started cracking up because out of everyone, she should be the one to know.
she should know what it is.
Correct. Which is even funnier that she doesn't. So Bane is now turning heads because of the briefcase. We then have Clayface making a guest appearance in this, which was incredible.
I loved that.
We'll talk more about that in a minute, but like I just wanted to go through quickly with the plot. And then it comes down to Golden Glider threatening to kill everyone until Beast Mode is turned back into Kite Man. And she gains control of her powers. She convinces the CEO of Villigans to change him back, and they do. And she flies out of there, and then the anti-life equation is on the ground, and we don't know who gets it.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So what was hilarious was this episode ended, right? And I go, who has the anti-life equation? So I rewinded it, watched it again. Not the whole thing, just the scene, because I didn't
Just
need to
that
see the whole thing. And I go, they never showed who got it.
it's going to be suspense.
Which I don't have a problem with because it really wasn't the big point, which is hilarious to
No,
think about.
it's
Because
like it's like the main subplot of this entire show, but yet it's still in the back burner.
but the thing was, like, they made it the forefront last episode, and in this one, it should have been, and
Yep,
it wasn't, and it's even funnier to me. So anyway, Beast Mode wins the award, obviously, and it has the
because
funniest
it was
banter.
rigged. It was rigged.
Well, no offense, we kind of knew it was rigged because Villigans
No,
funded the
no,
event.
it was meant to be a deep a ploy because Villigan thought that uh, Luther had it, and she thought that Luther had it in the Legion of Doom headquarters.
Yes.
And it just so happened that that Bane brought it to the headquarters as part of his outfit. That was just I was laughing this entire episode. It was so funny.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was actually really good. Um, I liked all of it. I personally loved Clayface. He made the episode for me, and it was.
Oh, he
So you
was
know what
good.
was funny? When they first showed the CEO of Villigans with Golden Glider, I went, "Did she really get Clayface?" Because that was obviously who I first thought of, and I go, you know what was funny? I said, "I don't know because there's no way he would keep quiet for this long."
No, I know, right?
That was
No, I'm
legitimately what he
sit.
said. I literally was like, I think it's got to be Clayface, and then he's not speaking, and I was like, it must not be Clayface because he wouldn't like he would not shut up. And then as soon as I see his mouth, I was like, oh, it's Clayface.
He's here. No, I was thinking like anyone who could just like transform their body because I'm like, okay, if it's not Clayface, who else could it be? And then it turned out to be Clayface, so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, never
The
mind.
other thing I didn't mention too is the Queen of Fables has removed herself from the conjoined twins and is now working towards getting her body back. The reason why I
Yep.
say it that way is because it's unclear if she's gotten it back yet, but it's in front of her face, encased in honey, where it's safe and looks preserved.
Yeah,
Um,
preserved for later.
and so Queen of Fables looks like she's going to be getting her main body back. Although it was not officially confirmed. Also, Toy Boy is here, or Toy Man was
Toy
here.
Man.
Toy
Yep.
Man, which is hilarious because my first rendition of Toy Man was from the Suicide Squad game. So it's hilarious to see him as what he's supposed to be.
Oh, you never seen Toy Man before that?
I don't think so because you know who I really thought that was? I thought that was the Scarface at
Oh no,
first.
yeah, no, no,
Well,
no, no.
because because I thought it was Scarface first because we never saw him like move. Like,
Fair.
meaning like we never saw him like that. He could have had somebody attached to him. Is the point I was
Yeah,
making. So
fair.
like I just assumed it was him, and then I was like, oh no, it's he said his name, and I was like, oh, so that's who it's supposed to be. So yeah, I would have lost that bet in a million years.
That's funny.
But you can understand why I thought that because I never thought Toy Man was a toy.
Oh yeah, no, no, he was.
Because I never. Well, no. I get it, which explains why you didn't like his rendition in the game
No,
because it wasn't a it was a guy
it was literally a
who
person. So
used
it was like,
toys as tech, um which I get, but anyway,
mhm. Yeah, I mean,
overall this episode was good. I mean, I was kind of impressed. It went back to the way it was and I liked it.
yeah, no, it was very goofy.
It's what
It
we wanted, but what was hilarious was I just wasn't expecting it because of last episode.
yeah, it put focus on Bane again with him being goofy and just like him
Which
trying like the slow mo walking and him with his
spelling
inner
his name out, oh my god.
his
B
inner
is for
monologue that he can't keep in his head.
B is for the beauty that I am. A is for the awesomeness that I am is oozing. N is for not being ugly. And E is for extremely good looking. An exclamation point because loudness. It's and then Malice goes, spell it out. Brain.
And I love that everyone is just like staring him down. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so awkward, and then
And
they
then
just start cheering.
They cheered and it blew my mind. So what was really funny too is so we had there was a lot of cameos in this.
Yep,
Giganta was in it. Um, who is
all the
Doctor Psycho's ex-wife.
yep. There was a ton of
There was
there was a
Cheetah. I
cheetah.
believe Livewire was there as well.
I think I saw Killer Frost.
Well, so all right. So I'll say this: that person could have been either one because we never saw powers. It
True.
could have been Killer Frost or Livewire, but I know
Hmm.
exactly who you're talking about. I
Yep.
went with Livewire just because it didn't look icy enough, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. No. I mean, especially with the time period the show kind of takes that
Also,
like
but also too, it's like purposely meant like neither of them would actually wear that. So
yeah.
like they none of them would have worn a gown. So like it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so we had that, and it was honestly really good. Is there 2 episodes left? 1 episode? Like what's how is it 10?
I think it's 10.
All right, so there's two more. I'm very curious to see what the next 2 episodes are going to be, just because I I thought I knew where this was going, and I was right, but now it's there, and I don't know now.
Now we're at the end, and it's like,
Well, now we got it. Like we got where we were thinking we were going, and now I don't know what's happening.
yep, 10 episodes. So we got
Okay,
two
so two
left.
more. But yeah. So other than that, I mean, anything else you want to talk about the episode?
No, it was goofy. Now, obviously, we got the anti-life equation back in the fold. Probably going to play a little bit
But
of a bigger
not at
part.
Noonan's. But not at
Not at
Noonan's.
noon. Not
So
at
we don't have
Noonan's
to worry.
anymore.
So we don't have to worry about anybody accidentally finding it anymore. It's been found.
Yep. So
So like
I'm
that was the big
assuming
thing.
I'm assuming Darkseid might come back because obviously,
You know what's funny? I have a feeling Lex is gonna get the. I'm gonna. This is my prediction. Lex
yeah,
get the anti-life equation. He after a battle with Villigans, right, and somehow that Kite Man helps out. Whatever. We then have him go in there, basically stating this needs to stay in here because this is, and we need to keep your play. Like he's gonna. Lex is basically gonna like sort of beg. But what's gonna be even funnier is during that time or gloat. I no, he's gonna gloat first, and then Darkseid comes and then
hmm
Lex is gonna cry because he's gonna be like, "Uh oh," but Darkseid's gonna be there because of malice, not because of the anti-life equation,
not because of the
and so
anti.
all of that's gonna happen, and then Kite Man and Golden Glider basically convince Darkseid that Malice is doing great and they want to keep her and all that stuff, blah blah blah, and then he leaves, and because of that, Lex then begs in his Lex way, right? Because it's not gonna be really begging, but you know what I mean,
Yep,
of keeping the
twisted.
briefcase there, and he'll leave them alone.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah,
my prediction right now. And to be honest with you, had I said that at the beginning of the series, I would have said that's not going to happen. However, that actually looks more plausible now.
I mean, at this point, with the way the show is, we don't know what's going to happen.
No,
So, I mean,
no. All right.
anything we predict is probably just going to be wrong, anyways. But I'm not saying that you're wrong. You're very close to probably, possibly being right.
I was
But
going to say that this, like I said, it's more probable than I thought. Like
yes,
the
exactly.
original time I thought of it, I was like, "There's no way they're going to do that." And then after watching the 8 episodes, you know what? This is actually really plausible. Not to say it's
Yeah,
going to happen, but it's very plausible. But all right,
absolutely.
let's go right into season 1 of Hit Monkey. So Hit Monkey is a show that came out in 2021. The second season came out actually July of this year. However, we just watched season 1. So basically, for those of you who don't know who Hit Monkey is a Japanese snow monkey. I who basically
He's an assassin.
turns into an assassin. Um, and becomes the guardian between the worlds. He keeps the human world and the animal world safe. And makes money and does drugs in the meantime as well. So
Yeah,
this season was basically his origin story.
yeah. This was, yep,
Um,
absolutely.
the first half was kind of okay. Mike and I talked about this where it was good, like it was exactly what I was expecting. The first
hmm
half was he basically killed people that trying to find the killer of the assassin that trained him, basically.
Yep.
Um,
That also
and
killed his tribe.
yes, also true. So it was revenge in its weirdest form ever. Uh,
Revenge in two parts.
but it was like a double revenge. So he has a ghost companion who is the assassin that was the main target of um, the mercenaries that came to the
So at the beginning of the very beginning of the episode, there's an election going on for
yes.
Prime Minister of Japan, and the as Ghost
Which
it was
before Mike goes any further, the election goes on the entire season. So this is
yep.
like the beginning or like the final stretch, I'll say, of the election.
It's
Like they
getting
still
close
got
to the end.
it's still got like let's say a year, right? And I'm making that up because I don't think it was a full year, but it's gotten to the point where like with our elections, right? Like every 4 years we have an election, like the big one. So this is then the last year where everyone like really like the election is the bigger deal. Like in if you understand what I'm saying. So like
Yeah,
he
I think it was in like the last 6 months of the election
yes,
before.
no, agreed.
Um,
So it's close to the election, but not there yet. And continue, Mike. Sorry.
so there are two main parties, and the fan favorite, which was who. So he was behind, but he was gaining, and but
He was
he was the one that was more popular with the people.
well,
So
no. So what it was he was 3 points behind in the polls, but based on person you trust, he was up by 15 points. So the
yes,
idea
yeah.
was the thought was they were going to win.
So the American who becomes the ghost assassinates that prime minister,
Yes.
and that leads to the Japanese military hunting him down, killing him, and he happened to be in the hit monkeys tribe in the mountains. And
Yes.
while he was there, Another group of military comes, kills him, and then it kills all of the monkeys except for the main monkey that becomes Hit Monkey. So many times saying monkey. um, so
Also,
once
too,
he,
I want to say something too because this is a key point too, and we find this out a little bit later. However, it does make sense because we sort of see it in the beginning. Hit Monkey is different than all the other monkeys from the get go.
yes,
Um, it's obviously more prevalent towards the end of the season,
yep,
obviously. However, he's an outcast even before these men come in.
yeah, he was the odd one. He never fit in. They always tried to get him to what, I don't know what the right word is for it, but they wanted him. They were trying the leaders were trying to get him to fit in, but he just couldn't. And he just finally, he found his, at the end of the season they basically said like he was the bridge between the two worlds, where it was like he's not a monkey, he's not a person, but he like bridges the gap between them so that way they can
Yes.
live in harmony.
Yep.
um
100%.
so
So
but
yeah, that
it
so the
was
first.
it was a fun it was a fun series,
Well, I was
it
gonna say like
started.
let's start off with like the first half. The first half was just a lot of like stereotypical like monkey kill people, monkey find
Yep.
somebody, monkey kill people, monkey get drunk at casino, monkey kill people.
Yeah.
Like that's
But
legitimately
it's funny too because the monkey's communicating with all these people, and like most of them don't know what the hell he's saying, because he's like,
but he
he knows what he's saying, and the ghost knows what he's saying, but
but not right away. So once you get to know him, you learn what he's actually saying.
oh yeah,
Because if you remember, even the cop at the end started to learn what he was saying.
yeah, because I mean, even at the monk the monk in the beginning, like he spoke monkey, so like
Yeah, but he also
even
spoke with ghosts, so like he's
he also
obviously
spoke.
different.
He's just of a different breed entirely. But like
Yes.
the Bryce, who was the ghost,
Yes.
was so thrown off. He's like, "Oh my god, you speak monkey?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's my second native tongue." It's
And then
like,
he's like, "Wait a minute, you speak ghost too?" And he's like, "Yeah."
I thought that it was
Um,
just goofy.
yeah. So it was the second half where it got really good, where we got the
Second half got emotional.
but like that's what made it so good.
It made it so good because you just felt so much pain.
So in the second half of the season, there's a hit. There's literally a hit on Hitmonkey, and all these assassins go after him. So he wipes the floor with the first wave of them with ease, right? He had a little bit of trouble with like a couple of them, but overall they were all easy for him, right?
Yeah,
And then his bounty like triples,
yeah. And
and
Bryce gets
then
very jealous.
oh yeah, 100%. But that's when Lady Bullseye comes in, who I'll be talking about later. And
I had guessed that was you're going to be your character spotlight.
well, it fits. Let's be honest.
It does.
So we we have Lady Bullseye, and like I said, we'll go over her more closely later. Is an assassin who is really skilled with any type of weaponry. So she doesn't, not that she doesn't like guns, she can use them without a problem. However, her skill set and what makes her unique, obviously, and well, I say unique, but she basically is exactly Bullseye,
She's
um,
bullseye, but lady.
in Japanese. Um, she uses everyday, like she uses random objects that she finds and can use them with skill to eliminate people. And it's honestly the best way to do so because it's harder to get ballistics.
Yeah.
It had one of the best highway scenes that I've seen in a while, um,
Yeah.
where the monkey's just literally flying around after
Jumping car
cars.
to car. She's still trying to murder him. Starts with a train chase.
Yes, but then he gets off. Well, she shuts off the train. No, no, her actions causes the conductor to stop the train.
Yep.
He then gets onto a car or a vehicle and then goes on the highway, and the two of them begin to fight that way. She is super skilled and like scarily skilled. Um, we then find out like the biggest plot twist ever was the fact that who we thought was the bad guy was not, and I actually didn't honestly, up until we see the guy by himself with nobody protecting him, the guy who we thought was the bad guy,
Yep.
I was dead set we knew we that he was the bad guy.
I thought, yeah, no, I completely agree. There, I was like, there's is as soon as it revealed that it was actually the other guy, the I
Was
guess
exactly when
campaign
I found out
manager.
because like I had
Yeah,
no idea.
no, absolutely not. I was like, okay, this is clearly, we know what's going on. He's been putting hits on everybody, and it's like, nope, nope. It's just
Well,
the
like we knew the bonsai king was the bad guy. However, who he was backing was not who we thought he was backing. And
yes,
so once we heard, I forgot what was said, but when the I think it was when the politician goes, "Why do you think I would kill somebody when I was actually in the lead?"
yep,
And then that's when I went, "Oh no, there's no way it's him."
yep,
Because
yep.
that's the only time I actually thought he was the bad guy, and it was legitimately when
Yeah,
they
it was literally when they had to spell it out for us.
yeah, because
they
I
they did a they did a good swerve with this episode, with this series, with that,
but like
because
it made
they,
sense, like it all made sense, and it like
yeah,
didn't ruin anything, but like it was a good enough plot twist where I was like, oh, like we are going there, are we?
yep.
Um, Very interesting. I thought that was really cool. So a couple of things here. Apparently, our friend Bryce is able to make himself more physical with salt, and was
Yep.
able to go toe to toe with Lady Bullseye. And I say it that way, but realistically, she was still kicking his butt.
I was gonna
Um,
say that's a very toe to toe. I guess is a loose term nowadays, is
well,
it?
he was able to cause her some harm, in the sense
he
of as a
he threw
ghost.
salt. He threw
So
salt in her eyes.
well, no, he did punch her a few times too.
Did he? I don't remember that. I just remember
Yeah,
him
no,
getting
he
tossed around.
well because she didn't think he could touch her. She
Oh,
didn't think
that's
he could
fair.
touch her, and I believe the only two hits he got, or I think there was two hits. One was when the first time she was like dead set he couldn't hit her.
Yeah,
And then the
she
second
was
time,
distracted by Monkey. Yep,
well, no, I think it was just more the fact of she just thought he was gonna die, or like
that too.
disappear. But then the second time had to do when he got salt in the eye, or she got salt in the eye, and then he hit her again. But no, she definitely did more damage. He then put her in a full Nelson, and the cop killed her.
Yep. Yeah. No.
And then Hitmonkey kills the uncle after Bryce ascends to heaven. Well, ascends. I'm not going to say much
Yeah. Sense.
because there was a red guy who made him a deal, which means that was Mephisto. Um,
No, we're going with this again.
well, no, he said red guy made him sign a contract.
Yeah. No, I know. I
So
know.
there's there's only two people who it could be, and one of them is Mephisto.
um, they
That does not
the
mean he's going to be like in the next season or not. I'm just stating that he was at least mentioned.
yeah. But we have Hitmonkey actually wasn't going to kill the prime minister, but the prime minister, instead of surrendering peacefully when he got caught, he tried to kill the cop with her own gun.
Yep.
So Hitmonkey's response was to kill him before he killed anybody,
Yep, and
which
that made
led to
his only friend
uh,
hating him.
yep, what's her name? Akiko.
Sure, the niece of the prime minister.
Yeah, I don't remember any of their names. I think the I don't remember the one who won, the prime minister, but I think the one who we thought was the villain was Uzai.
I for some reason think that's the name of the gang, but now I'm not. No, I think you're right. But anyway, not the point. It doesn't really matter. It really
I
doesn't matter.
mean,
It's
I, I
semantics
mean,
now.
there was also Silver Samurai and the Ghost, who I also forget the name of.
So there were three superpowered beings that were in this show. It was the samurai with the, I mean, it was the sumo wrestler with the electric feet.
Yep.
Um, we then had the Silver Samurai. For those who don't know, obviously have never watched the X-Men animated series. He's a mutant with mutant samurai who has the ability to make.
Mm, 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 mm.
Well, because I want to make sure I phrase this correctly, because I don't think he can do it with anything. I think it has to be a blade. He can make a blade cut through anything, including adamantium.
Mhm.
because that's his mutant ability. He has obviously gadgets with teleportation and stuff like that. And then we had the ghost of justice that kind of like protects Tokyo, and she's got a thing for Hitmonkey because
Yeah, yeah.
he's a noble warrior. Um, so yeah, seeing the fight scene between the ghost, the sumo wrestler, and Silver Samurai was actually really cool, and
That
obviously
was.
Hitmonkey in the mix too. Um, I find it hilarious that Hitmonkey technically didn't fight any of those guys, like with them. Like he was just trying to escape to go say like stop the prime minister, which I find to be hilarious. But yeah, Lady Bullseye dies. Well, because that's who I keep wanting to say, and that's not right.
Me too. Me too.
So Lady Bullseye gets killed, and at the end of the season, we have the niece of the prime minister who's now dead don on the Lady Bullseye outfit.
Yep.
So it looks like
So
she's going to be the new Lady Bullseye. We also have the fact that Bryce is back, um, as we talked about, and apparently the monkey's going to New York.
yeah, you're gonna be making a trip over to uh, get going to make a trip to see Bryce's family.
That was the original plan.
Yep.
And the reason why I say it that way is because when he made the plan, Bryce didn't exist anymore. So that
He thought Bryce was gone.
we could see we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean, the way they ended the show, like even if they didn't come out with a season two, like it did, like end in
it,
a
it,
way that it had some closure. It had
it
some questions that could continue, but like,
but it wasn't a lot that it was like, oh no, like there was no cliffhanger. There wasn't.
yeah, like obviously the prime minister's niece is looking for revenge, so
100%.
Lady Bullseye is going to be, coming back.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously the plot is going to be finding uh Bryce's daughter.
I don't. That's going to be a tough one. We're going to find out on that one. I have a feeling it's going to be a wide variety of possibilities of things that could be the plot.
Well, like like that, like the plot is going, like I'm not saying like this is the main plot, but like the whole, like I guess the subplot will be to like bring peace to Bryce's daughter, let her know that, whatever Bryce wanted her to tell her.
Yes, to
And but like
let her know that like
he's
he
going
did
to
everything
be,
for her, and realistically, he actually did.
yeah, but like it's not going to be like, there's obviously going to be other things going on. There's, like I said, Lady Bullseye is going to be showing up. There's going to be other villains
Oh, for sure. But
in New York.
American ones, which is going to be funny. So we have the
So I'm
potential of
wondering.
seeing the Hand, the Daredevil,
Mhm.
Elektra, the male Bullseye, and Kingpin.
Yep. Yeah. No. That, so like we're gonna hope, like you said, possibly be seeing all those people. So and then over whoever else is associated with Daredevil.
Yep.
So
We'll have to wait and see.
that'll be interesting, and we'll see if this is actually more tied together to other Marvel projects, or if this is going to be like a standalone thing.
Well, we now know that it has the potential because it came out this year, so there's a good
Yeah.
chance that it is. Um, so yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about this? I think that was
No,
everything.
I no, it was good. I'm glad I watched it. It was, like you said, it was the only thing that I thought this was going to be kind of like I would so I know when you asked me like, oh, do I know anything about Hitmonkey? I was like, oh, it's a monkey that's an assassin. Um I thought it was going to be something a little bit different. Like I thought it was like a human that got transformed into a monkey and was like continuing what he was as a human,
No.
kind of like Howard the Duck kind of thing. But no, I wasn't like that, and I was okay with it. It worked. It had some funny moments. It had some serious moments, and a lot of blood.
And a lot of monkeys. A lot of monkeys.
A lot of monkeys.
A lot of dead monkeys specifically. Like not even just regular monkeys. Dead
No,
monkeys.
yeah, there was unnecessary amount of dead monkeys. Like
Yeah.
that was brutal.
Like
Like
way more monkey death. Like I understood the first wave of it because it started everything. Like okay,
yeah,
this is for revenge. And then just so much more death of monkeys happened and I was like, "Oh my
Lady
gosh."
Lady Bullseye murdering the monkeys at the zoo was so unnecessarily brutal.
Well,
Like,
but
I
it makes
understand it was meant to be like a calling card and say like, "Hey, I'm coming for you."
well, no, it was also for her to see like is the nervous system of a monkey the same as the nervous system of a human? Because I think if you noticed,
Oh,
she
you're
was
talking.
hitting.
You looked at it as like that.
Oh, because if you noticed where she hit them all was to like normal places you would hit a human. And so she
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
see if that would work with him. Because why would you go after the assassin first? You would go after the monkeys who aren't trained and see if that works. Because if they can get out of it, you then now know that the assassin can. Oh yeah.
I
So
don't.
she.
I don't like how much you think about this. All
Hey,
right.
when you have an enemy, you got to know how to get rid of them.
I don't
Okay.
like that you're just sitting there with a little smug smile trying to hide your little subplots.
Hey, what I do is what I do. Okay. I don't need you to know
Okay.
that. All right. So anyway, let's get right into my character spotlight. So my
Yeah.
character spotlight should be a shock to no one. It's Lady Bullseye. And what's hilarious is, so this is Lady Bullseye of 616. So she doesn't have a name,
No.
meaning like she's only been known. So she's had a fake name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but that's not her actual name. Her real name has been unrevealed still to this day, and her alias has been Lady Bullseye from the get go. So she was actually created in 2008, which shouldn't be a shock of what comic book series she came out of. She came out of Daredevil, which, like I
Makes
said, should
sense.
yeah, 100%. So, born in Japan, the young girl who would become Lady Bullseye was imprisoned by the Yakuza, who planned to sell her and many others into sexual slavery. However, Bullseye, on an unrelated errand, arrived to slaughter the mobsters. The sight of Bullseye's effortlessly killing her captors inspired the girl to escape and become a killer. And possibly the name, wink wink. After she was trained by Izo to become a skilled fighter, she was promised she would one day lead the hand. Years later, now an employee of the hand, and going by the name Lady Bullseye, she accompanied Lord Hirachai. By the way, I'm going to be mispronouncing every name, so be prepared. Um,
Joy.
she accompanied the Lord to New York to help him in his then unrevealed plan. However, she disrespected his orders and used her civilian guise as a lawyer to frame Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, for murder when he was starting to get in their way. Still, when she was confronted about this, she promised that Murdoch would be prepared for their gift when the time was right. Eventually, Lady Bullseye revealed Hiroshi's plan to Daredevil, having him take over the leadership of the Hand and bring it back to its former glory. When he refused the offer, she wasn't surprised. She quickly knocked him out and fled. Soon traveling to Spain, preparing to initiate Plan B, there she found the Kingpin, trying to live a normal civilian life, and killed his new girlfriend and his kid. Oh, sorry, my apologies. And killed his new girlfriend and her kids, not their kids. I had to be very specific on that. She brutally stabbed Kingpin, telling him that this was a message for Daredevil. Kingpin returned to New York as planned, and after a while, Lady Bullseye paid him a visit, confessing he had finally proven himself before the Hand. She brought him before her leaders to offer him the position Daredevil had declined. But upon facing um, Hiroshi, Kingpin brutally killed him for ordering the deaths in Spain. Still, he had grown fond of the idea of leading the Hand and wanted to accept the position he had been offered. However, Daredevil and Izo arrived, quickly subduing both Kingpin and Lady Bullseye. As Daredevil finally accepted the Hand's leadership with Izo's support, she realized her master had betrayed her and vowed to kill him. The series of events that had an unexpected outcome of bringing Kingpin and Lady Bullseye together, with the two creating a partnership to rebuild his empire and bring Daredevil down. Shortly after, a brutal Daredevil faced the original Bullseye and broke both of his arms before using the sai to stab him through the chest. Lady Bullseye found him and performed the hand ceremony to revive him. Hoping her devotion would cure him, he was indeed revived, but the damage to his spine was too great. He was left paralyzed, and Lady Bullseye then had him placed inside of an iron lung through which he would communicate and relax while preparing his revenge on Daredevil. Lady Bullseye kept working with Kingpin for a while, but eventually chose to try new things, joining both Baron Zimo's Army of Evil, and the Masters of Evil West Coast. Since then, she became a mercenary and was hired by Rose Roche to steal Jessica Drew, but she was quickly taken out by the aerial fight when Jess discovered her jetpack. Rejoining the Hand after the Punisher became the new head of the Hand, which is a whole different story that I don't want to talk about. And the Fist of the Beast, Lady Bullseye, and Lord Deathstrike, also a former member of the Hand, didn't believe he was fit for the position and one night attacked him to prove him unworthy. They easily disarmed him and were able to shoot him when the Beast's power surged through him, meaning Punisher. And he threw a dagger infused with the Beast power, striking Deathstrike in the chest, killing him. Witnessing this, Lady Bullseye bowed before the Punisher, pleading her allegiance. And that, my
Hmm.
friends, is the end of Lady Bullseye's story for now. Lady Bullseye has no apparent superhuman powers. She's a master of several martial arts and has been shown proficient in hand-to-hand combat and using both a katana and a shuriken. Her equipment formerly was a jetpack, and apparently, and this is a funny little thing for me, Lady Bullseye is faster than Bullseye.
Huh. Okay.
Now, not superhumanly fast or anything like that, but just faster than him.
Just faster. Yeah.
Yep. Before being paralyzed. Um,
Well,
so
that kind
this,
of is a cheat.
well, actually, you know what's funny? So that's actually how he gets the adamantium spine put in his back, which is actually kind of a funny story.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, so surprisingly, this character has a power grid. So, as always, the power grid is out of 7. Her intelligence is a 4 because it is gifted. Her strength is a 3 because she is at peak human condition. Her speed is a 2 because it is normal. Her durability is a 2 because it is normal. Her energy projection is a 1 because there is none. And her fighting skill is a 6 because she is a master of several forms of combat. And like I said, she was created in 2008, and she's one of the few characters that I've actually done a character spotlight on who's never died.
I have to say, I think her durability is definitely not normal human because in the Hitmonkey show, she drove directly into an oil tanker, blew up, and survived with like no damage to her. So there's definitely, and there's no way that she is only regular human durable.
Well, I think the main point here is that she's at peak human condition, and I think because of that, she's also learned how to heal herself a little bit because of the hands training.
Oh, so because she's in peak human condition, she can survive an explosion from an oil tanker. Is that what
It's
you're saying?
so ready. This is peak human condition in Marvel 616, in Marvel World Universe 616. So yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right. Peak human condition in DC is like God. Okay.
Well, we know that they are normal. Marvel tries to play it off that they're just regular humans. So,
Actually, that's valid. Although to be fair, when we see humans, they don't ever seem human. Like Lady Bullseye did not seem human.
that's fair. Yeah.
Okay, so like, yeah. So I'm just gonna go on that one because she was basically like at the same level, if not better, than everyone that was fighting at the bottom of the tower, like the sumo with the electric feet, Silver Samurai, and the Ghost. Like she was on par with all of them,
Oh yeah.
possibly better. So like, yeah. So yes, human, but like obviously better.
human
But
human with slight enhancements.
correct. So next week we're going to be going over the latest episode of Kite-Man Hell Yeah. We're going to then talk about season 2 of Hitmonkey, and we're going to have a character spotlight from Mike. And anything that comes up, we'll talk about. But the idea is most likely not. But there's always at least a little bit something. We'll talk about it in the beginning, and then go right into the heavy stuff. For
Yeah,
now,
we're starting to get into like that season where September's right around the corner, so we're that maybe
yeah,
getting more info on the September shows.
I think we have what 2 weeks, and then they start.
Yeah, the first one is
Is it?
it's Agatha
Yes.
because yeah,
Agatha comes out first, and then that same week technically is when Penguin comes out, but it's the
yep,
Sunday, and then there's a hiatus, and then blah blah blah.
yeah. So it's a week break
Yeah,
from Penguin. So
yeah.
and it actually it'll line up pretty well because God, Kite Man ends on the 12th of September, and then the
Yep.
week after it, we start picking up the other shows.
Yeah,
So
Agatha will have the 2 episode premiere and everything else. So, if you made it this far into the video, this was a shorter episode than normal, which I'm not complaining about. So, if you made it this far into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, there's going to be Scott and Mike signing out of the Black Eel podcast. Have a great night. Bye bye.